Hey, good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic with me, Mike Avery, here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. Here to record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. I will tell you more about that as I do some last minute, well, we don't need that, as I do some last minute adjustment of my shot, which I am known to do. Unfortunately, anyway, it is a cold morning here outside the studio. It was, what I see, -1 on the way in here. Wind chill like 17 below. Good morning, Craig Plowman. How you doing, my friend? Craig, thank you for getting us the African safari for our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner. And I think we've got an Illinois hunt too, courtesy of you. Tommy, good morning. How are you? Appreciate you joining us as always. Mike, how are things in Arizona? I got to believe it's a little warmer in Arizona than it is right here in our great state of Michigan. I made a post earlier a few days ago about how I really don't like the cold anymore, but I'm also not interested in moving. I'm a Michigan guy for life. I'm going to stay here till the end. Bruce, good morning. How are you? Always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. Mad Jack, the same. Uncle Johnny. Johnny Craves, my brother-in-law. We had a very nice dinner with you and Aunt Debbie Monday, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, Johnny, for your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Uncle Johnny. Happy birthday to you. Where is it? There he is, Johnny, right there. Johnny Craves, Uncle Johnny. Jordan. Hey, Jordan, what do you think of our new NRC director? A 6-time congressman from Flint. Great choice to lead the NRC, don't you think? Harry, my longtime friend, always a pleasure. Tim, nice to have you along with 41 below. Where are you at in the Yup, Jordan? Remind me, is that a wind chill or is that an actual temperature? 41 below yesterday in the Yup where Jordan Hoover is. How about you, Johnny Bowler? What's the temp where you're at? Jerry says it's cold in Algonac. Johnny Bowler, good friend of mine, who is donating a bear hunt to our annual Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction. I'll tell you more about that coming up. But Johnny, always appreciate your generosity, my friend. Mike says, yeah, it's warmer here, unlike most of the nation. Well, that's why you're there too, isn't it? Hey, also, Mike Critchfield wants to connect with Johnny Bowler, the two names you're seeing here right now, because Mike wants to set plans in place when he does get his Michigan bear tag. He wants to hunt with you, Johnny Bowler. Bill, good morning. How are you? Jeff said that was 6.5 miles out of Lance going towards Skaney. Jeff Hammond rubbing it in. He says, yeah, it's 81 yesterday in the 60s today in the Keys. Johnny Bowler says -17 yesterday, 7 above this morning. Which just reminded me of something. The 24th, this Friday, they draw the Pure Michigan Hunt. I don't know what time it is. I have already won that hunt, so hopefully good luck to the rest of you. Not hopefully, good luck to the rest of you. Wow. What else is going on? The days are getting longer, though, right? You can feel that. As I was sitting in the parking lot here at the outside the studio getting ready to go live this morning, it was already starting to get light. So the days are getting longer. Doesn't mean they're getting warmer, but they're getting longer. Personally, I haven't done much, if anything, outdoors other than take the garbage out and run to the truck and back or into the store and back. I do a lot of office work this time of year, a lot of contracts, a lot of sales stuff, getting ready for taxes, that type of thing. I think I'm just going to hunker down until it gets a little bit warmer. And then start thinking about turkey season and open water fishing. Johnny says, anybody, this is for you, Mike, and anybody else, anybody that's interested in bear hunting can send me a message or get my number from you. Okay. Johnny, I think I already did pass your number along to Mike because I know both of you and I didn't think that would be a problem. Butch, good morning. How are you? Thanks for joining me, Mike Avery, on this edition of Behind the Mic. I'm here to record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. I will tell you shortly who's coming up on that. Robert, how are things in the Eastern UP besides cold? Mike says, Johnny Bowler. Thank you, Johnny. I think you've met before. If not, I'm sure you would enjoy each other's company. Okay, a couple of other things I want to talk about. Fishing on Saginaw Bay. There is ice out there now, but you got to know what you're doing. I will tell the story here coming up in this first segment of this week's show of a scouting trip with my son, James Edwards, his buddy Mike Smith from Offshore Account, and their mutual friend Marty Saliga, the airborne angler. I had Marty on the radio show here last week. If you're not a local, I would suggest you tag along with a local, because these locals have some knowledge of the ice and how to get out there safely. Jim, good morning. Jeff, Mike Sills, Michigan Outdoorsman, always a pleasure, buddy. Tell me what you mean here, Jordan. The new NRC chairman certainly seems to be a valiant effort to clean up the process and operations. Not sure his background is good for much else. What do you mean by that, Jordan? Do you mean that he's a politician and that he knows how to work the system? Is that what you mean by that? Jordan, please expand. Ron Baker, good morning, buddy. How are you? Robert said, good ice and good fishing. Bernie, good morning. How are you? Jeff says, limited out on yellowtail yesterday. Got a little bit of a sunburn. Rub it in. But other than that, I'm surviving this winter weather. Jordan says, Kildee was appointed to manage people. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that. Kildee was appointed to manage people, not resources. Okay. I get what you're saying by that. And if that is the case, then good. Because the NRC really needs a complete makeover, doesn't it? The Natural Resources Commission. Jay Phelps, good morning, buddy. How are you? Thanks for joining me. Okay, a couple of things I wanted to mention here. Dan or Dale? Remind me, folks, Dan or Dale? Good morning, Art. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
Go ahead and pop in here, Art. This guy right here.
Wouldn't be Wednesday if I didn't say hello to your great audience.
I appreciate that, Arthur. How are you?
Besides
fine. Cold.
Yes. However, this too shall pass.
It shall.
And I'll tell you what, the ice fishermen are all saying thank you.
They are saying thank you.
Yep.
And I'm saying you're welcome.
In a while.
It's been a long time.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to March 1st.
March 1st, the Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction.
I need to win more guns.
Our guest of honor. And I'm looking forward to having you on the show so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Anytime. You tell me when.
All right. Well, the three of us and Jonathan will figure it out.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Art. You can hear Art on WSTW AM and FM every week. Was appointed to manage people. Help me out. Is it Dale or Dan? I always get those two mixed up. I think it's Dan, right? Dale was his uncle. Ron, how's Lake Mitchell? I don't know. I'm sure it's good. Brent, I've been meaning to check in with you. Good luck. Prayers, my friend. Bill says 39 and drizzle in Florida. Holy cow. 39 degrees and drizzle in Florida this morning. Let me just check something out here because now I'm really... Dan Kildee. Dan, not Dale. Dan Kildee. Well, Jordan, I find what you say, Dan. Thank you, Jay. Jay Wojderski of the Sturgeon for Tomorrow program, their big Sturgeon Chivalry coming up here in a couple of weeks. Jay was on the radio show with me last week to talk about it. And Jay will be joining us Friday, July 25th, for the second annual Mike Avery Outdoors charity golf outing to benefit MUCC's youth camp. Mike says, Dale was our past. Paul says, I was a lucky winner of Mag's Noodle ice fishing rod last night. Congrats. Lori's headed down to Nashville. Have a good trip. Be safe. I'm looking at you and laughing, John. Jordan says, I don't think there's been a press release yet. There's a new deer advisory teams beginning to work for the UP and LP Mike Hedelar will serve as chairman for the LP. I'll be serving as chairman for the UP. Excellent. So, Jordan, let me ask you this. What brought this about? Was this general dissatisfaction with the DMI process, the Deer Management Initiative, and the lack of follow-up there? Or what? But good luck on this new system. And will the same people be part of this as were part of the original DMI, or you're looking at a new crew? Bill Hoffman, Michigan Bow Hunters President Bob Jones is on the new DAT. DAT, Deer, what is DAT? Bill, help me out. The new DAT, is that the replacement for the DMI? Is the DAT the replacement for the DMI? I'll be curious. I'll be curious to see what the reaction is and all that good stuff. Okay, the Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction, Saturday, March 1st at the Great Hall in Midland. Tickets are now on sale. Yes, the Deer Advisory Teams replace, DAT, Deer Advisory Team. Yes, new name. Justin Tomei, who will be joining me on the show, says, yes, the Deer Advisory Team replaces the DMI. Well, let's hope that the DAT has more impact than the DMI did. Because the DMI, the Deer Management Initiative, had all kinds of suggestions and all kinds of advice. And very little of it got followed. So for some reason, maybe the DAT, the Deer Advisory Team, will actually be effective. That's me talking. The Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction. It's Saturday, March 1st at the Great Hall in Midland. Hunting trips, fishing trips, gun raffles, 50-50, a great meal. Now, I'm going to give you a website. It's kind of a long website, one.bidpal.net/Trinity Monitor Dinner Auction 2025. Best thing to do is go to my Facebook page, scroll down and find the flyer and just get there directly. We will sell out. We always do. We will sell out again this year. Saturday, March 1st at the Great Hall in Midland. I'm going to give it to you again, although I wish we could find a shorter way, and I bet you we can. I bet you we can. A shorter link for this. one.bidpal.net/Trinity Monitor Dinner Auction 2025. Jordan Hoover, who I would like to see on the NRC, in fact. The new DAT, Deer Advisory Team, will include some of the old DMI members and some new faces as well. The team will be run by the DNR and not the NRC. I love these initials. DAT, DMI, DNR, NRC. Matt, good morning. How are you? Hello, George. There's a link right there that Lori has put up, but that's even longer than the one that I gave. But thank you, Lori. Johnny says, I'm getting 5 tickets, but have to wait for my group. The 8th of February will there be tickets left by the 8th of February? I don't know, Johnny, but I know somebody who can make sure there are if you are sure you're going to need them. Corey, good morning. Oh my gosh. Jeff Hammond, I love you, but you drive me crazy. Jeff says, you have a good day. I got to get busy cleaning the pool. Jeff, may ice form on your pool and freeze over, so you have to spud a hole in your pool to go jump in and swim. I don't really wish that for you, but I kind of wish it for you. Tim Binns, good morning. This is a new name I don't recognize. WM, American Hunters, WM. Good morning. Well, good morning back to you. Jason Graham, Captain Jason Graham of Send It Charters and the Linwood Beach Marina will be my guest this month on the new Angler Quest podcast. We'll be talking about ice fishing on Saginaw Bay because Jason's trips start this weekend. But we'll also, of course, be talking about the new lineup of Angler Quest. Jason, as a salesperson, which is one of the many hats he wears, a salesperson at Linwood Beach Marina, will be talking about the new lineup and what he thinks. Dave says, good morning. A nice balmy day. That's for sure. Brian, good morning. Jeff, good morning. Thank you, Johnny. I'll take care of that. Captain Mark Pananzak. Mark has also in the past been very generous in supporting our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction. In fact, I've even seen him at that event. I've also seen him at the first annual Mike Avery Outdoors charity golf outing to benefit MUCC's youth camp. Roy says he can't wait to get the offshore boards back out. It's going to be a little while, Roy. It's going to be a little while. But I'm with you. Corey likes ice fishing. Okay. Let me tell you who's coming up. Oh, can we talk football for a minute? I was convinced that it was the Lions' destiny to go to the Super Bowl this year. I was absolutely convinced that it was going to happen. I thought it was supposed to happen. But thank you, Detroit Lions, for giving us a season to remember. I'm hoping, I think I've finally got a way to connect with Frank Ragnow. And I'm hoping when things settle down and slow down, I can get Frank on the show. Frank is a hardcore outdoorsman. He loves to fish. So I'm hoping to get center Frank Ragnow on the show. Not right away, but when he has time to slow down and regroup and all that stuff. And as if it wasn't bad enough that we had to watch the Lions lose, and again, God bless those guys for a great season, a few days later to have to watch Ohio State take the national championship, that was just like salt in the wound. Ugh. 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 When I have nightmares, I see Ryan Day's face. Good morning, Tom. Checking in from the Thumb. Season to remember. Absolutely. What a brutal game. It was, but it was a season to remember. Corey says church boards. I'm an offshore guy, Corey. Have always been, and always will be an offshore guy. Robert, good morning. Frank would be a great guest. Frank has a very great show himself. Frank is, I can't remember the name of his show, but he's good. He's very good and hardcore. It was a heartbreaker. Tim says, but Ohio didn't beat Michigan. We got that. Yep, we got that. We got that. Before I get too far down the rabbit hole, let me tell you who's coming up on this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show, which is really why I'm here in the Outdoor Magazine studio right now. My first guest this week is Chris Durson of Rapid River Knives, the company who makes this knife that I always pull out of my pocket every week. Chris right now and the folks at Rapid River are involved in a huge Grizzly Man. Thank you, Roy. Grizzly Man. All right, Johnny, see you tonight. Jordan, good morning. Grizzly Man Outdoors. Thank you. Bill says he loves the weather. God bless you. Chris Durson of Rapid River Knives is involved in a huge giveaway promotional contest right now for an Idaho bear hunt this summer. We will have details on how you can get involved. Then Paul Perone of VersaSkins. Just a reminder, with this cold weather now, you don't have to spend a bunch of money on your hunting gear when you can buy one good quality set. And for example, right now, you zip off your Blaze Orange outer shell and you snap on snow camo. So good time to remind you about that. Then Nick Buja of the Michigan Wildlife Council. In our second hour, Gabe Van Warmer. I saw a post from Gabe the other day about how he's got yet another new hobby, extreme long-range handgun shooting. But we'll talk to Gabe about that and so much more. Justin Tomei of MUCC joins me next to talk about the governor's appointment of six-time Flint Congressman Dan Kildee to chair the NRC, the Natural Resources Commission. John Up of the company that's River Raisin Ballistics, but they're making the 41 Great Lakes caliber cartridge. He's up next. And in our third hour, we're talking ice fishing with Mark Martin and much more. Then wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner joins me. So that's what's coming up. And in just about, 20 seconds or less, 30 seconds, I have to switch my focus from talking with you here on this live stream to recording this week's show. Feel free to stick around if you want to watch me record the show. You'll be watching me say the same words that will be on the radio show this week, the same audio. And because of that, I will be repeating some of the same content that I just have. So forgive me for that.
5,
4,
3, 2, 1.
Blast off. Okay, so I have to go to work now and record this first segment of the radio show. I will be talking about many of the same topics that you and I have already discussed. So it is what it is. Hey, John, can you knock that volume down just a little bit? Thank you. But I will be back tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. I hope you can join me then. In the meantime, have a good day. Try to stay warm. I know that's impossible today, but you know what? This is one of the few times I'm ever going to say this. If you can today, stay indoors. All right. Have a good day, my friends. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show right here on the Outdoor Magazine radio network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. And as always, so glad to have you along with me as we celebrate this history and tradition of the outdoor lifestyle here in the great state of Michigan and occasionally beyond. My name is Mike Avery. I've been doing this for a long, long time. I have no plans to quit doing this, to retire. You know, as I say all the time, my plans are not necessarily God's plans, and I will, of course, succumb to his will. But my will is to keep doing this because I do enjoy it. It's something I've done for a long time. And listen, I'm a Michigan guy. I grew up in this state. I've spent my career in this state. I don't see a reason to leave this state. You know, when it's this cold, does a southern getaway for a few days sound good? Of course it does. But I really have no plans to move to another state or become a snowbird or go down to Florida for 3 months a year. It's just not who I am. But man, it has been cold, hasn't it? I mean, when it's this cold, I have to admit, it does sound a little bit good maybe to head south for a few days. Snow and cold and making ice. It's a real good old-fashioned ice fishing season. Now, if you don't like that, all you could do is hang on and wait. But you will notice the days are indeed getting longer, right? We've got more daylight. So just if you enjoy the snow and cold, have at it. Get out there and take advantage of it. If you don't, just take some solace in knowing that the days are getting longer, and eventually springtime will get here. Now it's way, 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 way too early to start getting spring fever. I admit that. Myself, I haven't been outside much. A lot of office work this time of year, some new partners that are in the works. I'll talk about those in the next few weeks. Just a lot of office work, a lot of busy work that has to get done, kind of biding my time now until springtime turkey season, springtime fishing season, but that's a long ways off. There is good ice fishing, though. The inland lakes are pretty much all locked up by now. If you want to get out in the big water, and I'm thinking Saginaw Bay, which gets so much attention this time of year, if you are coming in from outside the area, and I said this last week as well, my advice is to tag along with somebody who's been out there, a local. Saginaw Bay can be very fickle. It can be unpredictable. I'm not saying it's dangerous if you know what you're doing. Like, for example, my son James did a scouting trip with a couple of guys just a few days ago. And one of them is a guy, Marty Saliga, the airborne angler who I had on the radio show here last week. Another one, Mike Smith of Offshore Account Charters. Mike is a guy who I talk with all the time on the water in the summertime. But they wanted to get out there and do some exploring and chart a route, map a route to get out there safely and to get other people out there safely. So those three guys and a couple of other anglers, I mean, these are local guys who are very careful. They don't take chances. They got great gear. They got great knowledge, great experience. They went out, and James told me how far they went and how long it took them. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was a very tedious trip, because every so often they would get off the sleds and walk out in front of them and check the ice with a spud. This is what I always recommend to people. The best way to check the ice is the good old-fashioned method of getting off your vehicle, off your sled, getting out and walking, and every few steps you just chunk the ice with a spud. And you can tell from the sound, from the ice you chip up with that spud. And if you're getting in too thin of ice, you're going to break through that ice with your spud. James said there were several times they actually got into areas with only 3 inches. Now, this has been a few days from the time, by the time you hear this show. There were several areas where they got into only 3 inches of ice. Now, if you're up near shore, fishing in 2 feet of water, walking out there, 3 inches of ice may well be enough. But when you're out there miles offshore on Saginaw Bay with sleds or quads and groups of people, you want more than 3 inches of ice. So I tell this story just as an example and just a reminder to be safe out there on the ice and take your time. If you're from outside the area, come on over, enjoy our beautiful Saginaw Bay in the wintertime, but go with people, follow people out. I know, for example, Mike Smith of Offshore Account and many other charters, they will take people out, but also they will allow people with your own sleds who are just looking for a safe route out there. They will allow you for a fee to tag along with them. Now, you fish on your own, but you can tag along with them and you're getting out there safely. So I would strongly and highly recommend a service like that. The NRC has a new director. Now, he may or may not have to jump through some political hoops before it comes official, but people in the know are telling me it's pretty much official. Our governor has appointed Dan Kildee to be the chairman of the NRC, the Natural Resources Commission. Dan Kildee is a 6-time congressman from Flint. He's a politician. I think pretty much a lifelong politician. So I look at this a couple of different ways. At first blush, I was thinking, oh, geez, one politician appoints another politician to run an agency that should be free of politics. I guess another way of looking at it is, does Dan Kildee go in there to be a manager of the resource, or does he go in there to be a manager of people? I guess I would assume that after that long in Congress, he knows how to work the system and knows how to cooperate with people and knows how to work with people and knows how to use the system. So I'm hoping that is indeed what this is all about. Because I got to be honest, I've told you this before. I don't have much faith in the NRC anymore, the Natural Resources Commission. And again, I other than Dan Kildee, just because I've seen him on TV, I wouldn't know any of these NRC commissioners if they walked up to me on the street and said hi. I don't know them as individuals. I just know their work as a body. And what I've seen lately has not impressed me very much. Oh, what else? Oh, tickets are now on sale for our big Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction. That is Saturday, March 1st at the Great Hall in Midland. Hunting trips, fishing trips, guns, 50-50 raffle, a great meal, some great fellowship. This is our 8th annual Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction. I'm going to give you a website, but it's kind of a cumbersome website. It is one.bidpal.net/Trinity Monitor Dinner Auction 2025. I know that's a lot to remember. one.bidpal.net/Trinity Monitor Dinner Auction 2025. Now, there is an easier way. We're trying to do all of our ticket sales online now. It makes the check-in process much easier. If you go to my Facebook page, I will continue to post the flyer every few days. So it goes to the top of my feed. I will continue to post the flyer that has all the information and the website and even a QR code that you can just scan that and go directly to that website. We will sell out. We always do. Every year we sell out. So I expect we will sell out this year. It'll be another great event. I would love to see you there. What else? Oh, listen, I'm no expert on this, but I got to talk football for just a second. All right. First of all, thank you, Detroit Lions, for the season of a lifetime. It was hard to watch them lose. I was absolutely convinced that it was their destiny to go to the Super Bowl this year. And they sure made a run at it, didn't they? So thank you, Detroit Lions. You gave us all hope once again, and you guys busted your rear ends this year. And I appreciate it. Also now, along that, but wasn't it salt in the wound to watch Ohio State win the national championship a few days later? I'm hoping, going back to the Lions, I think I have now a connection to Frank Ragnow, their center. He was a big outdoorsman, grizzly man outdoors. I'm going to give Frank several weeks to get things slowed down and get back to normal life. I'm going to try to reach out to him and see if I can get him here on the radio show. Speaking of the radio show, coming up this week, my first guest after the break, Chris Durson of Rapid River Knives, and Paul Perone of VersaSkins, Nick Buja of the Michigan Wildlife Council. In hour number 2, Gabe Van Wormer, Justin Tomei of MUCC, more on the new NRC commissioner, John Up from 41 Great Lakes, the guy who makes that new cartridge. And in hour number 3, we're ice fishing with Mark Martin, and we will wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. My name is Mike Avery. This show is called Outdoor Magazine. My website is MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address is mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. All right, my friends, have a great day. I will be back tonight at 7 o'clock for another Internet Live, and we will see you then.